All right. Good morning, everybody. Let's make sure we are all set here. I think we are. Okay. So good morning. Welcome back. Happy Monday to everybody. Welcome to Engineering the Markets. My name is Jared, and it is November 28th, 2022. Hopefully everybody had a wonderful kind of holiday season last week. Markets were open for about a half session on Friday, and we saw Thursday the markets closed. So not only were traders kind of taking a little bit of break, but hopefully you were able to take that break as well, maybe reflect and review, along with prepare for the last couple of weeks of trade this year. So as always, it is Monday, so we'll get started with our SPX expected move review. For those who are just joining us this morning or maybe haven't seen this particular study, what we normally are looking at is an idea of what the S&P 500 volatility looks like for the week. Every single Monday, we're able to look back. Essentially, this platform allows you to pull data from non-trading sessions. So once the market is fully closed out on Friday, we can pull something like our weekly option series, which in this case is December 2nd. And we can look at things like the option expected move for the week, which is a aggregate value that comes from the modeling of how option pricing works. The reason we grab this number is to get a sense of what the option market has priced for the week and whether we think that is fair, whether we think it's undervalued or overvalued, and essentially what to be doing during that session in regards to option trade, and also a little bit of intraday trade if we do see significant breaches of these regions. And as you can tell, last week was a fairly normal trading week in regards to expected move. The market priced about $72, and while we only had 4 trading sessions, one of which was a half session, we actually realized most of that expected move. The highest print we saw was about 4033, and the top end of our expected move was 4037, or actually 4034 on Friday. So for the most part, the market moved in line, nothing of breach or deviation, and pretty fair overall week in regards to that premium pricing. The question now is that what we're expecting for the weeks ahead? And should we be looking for larger price movement as we get into the last month of the year, along with some of the holiday trade, which could result in larger price movement? So I will say for this week, the market only increased the expected move a couple of points. We're looking at about a $76 expected move this week, and that puts our upper and lower bounds on Friday's close at about 4102 and 3950. Now, when I look at these two values from a technical sense, I see something like trend continuation in regards to the 4102 levels being met. Obviously, there is a structural uptrend that is occurring on this rally. The weekly, of course, is still looking channel based, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. But the 3950 level is also pretty fair. Most of the past 2 weeks of trade has established a level of boundary in regards to price. And moving to 3950 not only would be fairly insignificant in regards to previous trade, but it's also a pretty fair value. You'll notice a lot of inflection in the S&P products around this particular price. And we'll look at a volume profile study on other products to kind of get a sense of why that's happening. So for the most part, these levels are technically, I won't say irrelevant, but within expectation. A pullback to 39.50 is structurally not too insignificant, but a move to 4,100 is just trend continuation. And to some degree, it also might be some of the final targets if we are expecting anything like we saw in previous bear market rallies. And we'll talk about that as we shift over. So most of these values and levels just kind of echo a semblance of repetition in the market. And what's great about a market that repeats is you can kind of model some of these expectations through things like trend lines and other price deviation targets. So let's look at the big picture here and kind of understand why these levels might matter. First things first, we'll talk about like 4,100 or 410 SPY. And what you'll notice as we kind of zoom out here is it is essentially the tail end of most of our bear market rallies this year. Cyclically, what we've been seeing on low to high trade, especially ones of this magnitude, have been things like VIX getting to about 35 levels, things like volatility going into backwardation, things like bond and dollar pressure. And all of these items occurring at the same time have led to significant lows where usually things are relatively extreme. Market appears to be in some sort of sell spiral. And then, of course, over the next couple of months, we've seen dramatic recoveries in line with what is technically known as a pretty bearish trade channel that has formed over the period of a few of these cycles. Obviously, there are breaches and even some indication of more volatile trade outside. But all in all, the bearish channel structure has been one of the guiding price factors for most of this year, especially since we started to notice its construction back in April. So as far as final targets go, if you are looking to play low to high, it would make sense that a lot of traders might be looking for that last leg of this move. And then from that point, considering the idea that we might start to flip and basically look a little bit more bearish moving forward, so long as this channel remains structurally intact. You think about sort of a middle ground here, and that also kind of makes sense in regards to this rising channel that we have on our current uptrend. Now, arguably, there are only a few connections here, but as we are in some sort of corrective wave structure, the market has provided a couple of dips that have been continuation of trend. We have not yet broken structural concepts like the daily uptrend. And after our two last CPI reports, both of which showcasing a reduction in month-on-month and year-over-year inflationary readings, the market has been essentially grinding higher from this inflection point. And that, of course, occurred back on October 13th. So the upside here is that while this market remains in a bullish context, there is starting to feel as if this is a limited trade, aka less meat on the bone or less opportunity upside, especially given the risk of entering new positions at these levels. And that can obviously lead to less momentum. It can also simply lead to less participation, which isn't necessarily bearish outright, but with less participation, you are going to see a little bit of steeper decline on pullbacks, typically because you have less supporting participants who are willing to defend levels. So all of these concepts, along with our indicators that we often use, things like 200 periods on the daily, the idea that we are coming off of the 200 on the weekly time frame, and then of course the monthly time frames, which I believe we did touch the 50 period as of this corrective move. So strength in regards to the low to high trade, lots of confluence occurring at the same time. And then of course our bigger picture is that we're still technically in a weekly downtrend. And that's what's kind of interesting, is the sell swings have broken lows, and therefore the move back into uptrending structures is challenging for longer time frames. And all of this kind of combined with our short term, of which we'll dig in here to a little bit of the current trade in front of us. We do have a gap down open this morning. Let me back things up here. So last week we saw that bullish drift. We were able to retest the high side trade of approximately 2 weeks prior, and this was by concept a failed expansion inside of a balance range. The market is putting up balance here over the past couple of weeks. Most of our trade has been somewhat contained within approximately 395. You'll notice not only is this a lower boundary for the most part, but it's also a lot of consolidative trade. So lots of heavy trade interest occurring at this price. And then of course, if you do believe this is a failed expansion, which by the rules of balance are indicated here, we should not, essentially, if we're still trending, we shouldn't be seeing full breakdowns like this. This failed expansion and the high that it attempted to breach indicate where some of the high to low trade has formed over the 2 week sessions that we've been in. Now, all this does is over time, it builds up our volume profile. Essentially, most of the focused trade has been at these levels. And as you can see with today's gap down, this is a kind of risky area to be long biased. For one, we are back inside of our balance range. So the gap down has brought us back under the swing high with the lack of failed expansion, not necessarily looking at this high, which currently looks like a double top. But additionally, as I zoom in here, you'll notice that as we have collapsed back, the potential for downside is roughly equivalent to what we've seen with other tests of this price. Essentially, the way balance ranges work is if you fail on either side, the trade often will play itself back into range, and more specifically, will often go to test the other side of the balance. Now, what this means is when you start to see structures like this, where the market rips back into this balance range, and then, of course, the follow-up trade where we actually traverse the entire range, you need to be thinking about this symmetrically. Essentially, the market is more keen to do these types of transitions once the trade has established itself high or low, equivalent sides of balance. And oftentimes as traders, we're looking for this type of edge because essentially we want a market that's going to be directional, but we also want a market that has clear targets. And what makes a balance range a little bit easier to trade once you understand the concepts behind it is getting into balance allows trade to return usually to VPOC, wherever that happens to be in the range. Sometimes these balance ranges are structured differently. Sometimes you have double distribution areas that can often act as supply and demand zones. But arguably, this particular range the VPOC here is at the bottom, about 395, which makes, of course, a lot of the previous discussions interesting. SPX does have the 3950 expected move low. The SPY itself has the balance range concept. And then as a technical setup, you'll notice that if this does turn into something like a double top, it would essentially start to mark an area of distribution for this particular rally, i.e. if the trend is no longer favoring further upside, and we're basically seeing the end of this corrective wave, it is falling a bit short of that final target, but it is showcasing areas of interest, possibly for a sell side swing. And that, of course, would be our medium-term channel support, along with, of course, the bigger picture here where we saw maybe a couple of weeks of opportunity to get short biased and then the eventual collapse of this corrective wave. So all these concepts, I think, are coming into play as of right now. But as we are looking at short-term trade, we want to kind of see a few things that are indicating some issue with today's gap down. For one of the more simple ones has been the VIX. And we are seeing that full yearly cycle. Pretty much all of our VIX cycles have gone from arguable 35, 32 resistance. It's just the initial spike high that has the lack of closure on any additional attempts. Most of them have either failed or been spikes. And then, of course, the cycle low, which for me has been about 20. This is not necessarily as clear as some of the, volatility spikes we've seen, but for the most part, vol readings with VIX at 20 are considered undervalued or oversold to some degree. You'll also notice this morning we are getting a little bit of a gap up in the VIX, and that should be pretty much in line with our gap down in the market. But a return to something as simple as our mid-range could easily start to trigger some of that downside selling, and of course these targeted moves on the S&P balance range. Another thing that's kind of perking my interest right now is the disparity or the divergence between the energy market. And as you know, well, for the most part, most economically driven traders would say if we are heading into economic contraction, whether that be recessionary or just a period of slowdown, oftentimes crude is one of those trades that can be highly opportunistic. And what's occurring right now is a disparity between crude pricing and some of our energy stocks. So for example, if I add a comparison study, you'll notice that for the most part, these two products trade correlated. The XLE follows crude's pricing for the most part, and while the magnitude doesn't have to be equivalent, spike highs in crude and corrections in crude can lead to high and low trade in the energy market, along with steeper corrections leading to breaking of trend. What's been happening more recently, however, is we've seen continuation in the energy sector with crude, at least as of this morning, trading at the lowest prices this year. The front month crude and active contracts right now are trading, let me remove this study, essentially at the same levels as we saw at the beginning of the year, which means we are trading at 50, well, year-to-date lows. We've basically seen the same price as we started beginning of year. So I'm just kind of indicating where the year started. You could do like a year-to-date to get a better sense of that. So, and this disparity or this deviation between these two products kind of leads into a possible trade opportunity, albeit we haven't really seen the energy market take effect yet. The idea, of course, is that eventually this gap between crude pricing and energy stocks will need to be somewhat rectified. And while that can be crude starting to trade higher, my argument would be that crude is pricing in a recession. Recessionary periods are going to be bearish for crude. At least historically, that has been the trade. And if we're looking at the pricing this morning, the market kind of agrees. We've not really seen a new high in crude ever since March. And for the most part, this trade has been bearish. Steep declines, fairly poor breakout structures, and now new price levels compared to the beginning of the year. What that means is if this trade ends up working, the energy market has a lot of downside opportunity to essentially fill this break in correlation and to see some sort of sell swing that would bring it closer to how crude is performing. Obviously, would love to see the price start to agree with this kind of trade, but what this brings into focus is the energy sector as a whole. Energy stocks have been pretty much the only bullish sector this year. Essentially, if you're owning a sector of stocks and you do nothing year to date, you just kind of start a position into a sector, the only one that's up this year is energy. A lot of them are starting to get flat, and that is, of course, interesting as well. Market is starting to put some focus into other types of sectors as of late, especially in regards to the Dow. You'll notice the year-to-date performance here is actually only down about 6% compared to the SPY, which as of today is about 16% down. But I think this is more interesting in regards to the trade across broader indices. For one, if we do see a steeper correction in energy stocks, specifically some of the market leaders like Exxon and Chevron, those particular names hold significant market cap relative to the S&P due to some of the bullish trade that's occurred this year. So what that means is if you're looking at how the S&P is structured, go to like a fundamental tab of the SPY, for example. Obviously, the focus still remains on tech, and tech is still the leader in regards to the highest sector weighting, but also some of the larger holdings. You start to go down this list, and these names, for the most part, haven't changed, except for this one. This has been one of the largest fund top 20 movements in the S&P this year. And to some degree, it's equivalent to what we're seeing with Chevron, which should be a little bit further down. So these two particular names, while it might not seem like they're market movers, the fact that they're highly volatile, the fact that they have gained this year in market cap. At one point, Exxon was trading with a higher market cap than Tesla. And more specifically, this has overcome other major tech names like NVIDIA, and even to some degree, some of the consumer cyclicals and just names that are more commonly holding higher in the fund. But all of this kind of leads me to think that crude is a sector not only to continue watching, but it might also be an opportunistic trade if we see a correction in the market, because that correction could be driven by sectors that are notably weak but it could also be driven by a steeper correction in the strongest sector, aka a realignment of the energy sector to some of the more correlated assets like crude, and also just as a way to unwind what has been a more bullish year for this particular product. So those are some things to pay attention to. It kind of brings us into focus of what the topic will be this week, where I'm going to be looking not only at year-end performance, a little bit of kind of closure in regards to December, but also talk about some seasonality trade. This will be in line with what is the market looking forward at, and where is the market putting focus, especially if we start to see things start to break away from their core price trend, but also away from some of the expectations that have been priced in this year. Essentially, a little bit of a reversion trade on some of these ideas and concepts. So that is something to maybe pay attention to, but for the short term, remember, crude and a little bit of bullish trade often correlate. Usually weak crude can actually lead to weak equities. And while that's true for the energy sector, or it should be, it can also just kind of come across the board. So be on the lookout for correlation in regards to that, but also be thinking about some larger trade ideas moving into the latter half of December. Last but not least, dollar. We've seen obviously the significant correction in dollar pricing. We're looking at some relative lows as of now. I would argue that the trade is probably stabilized for the time being, but any bid up in the dollar, especially if you're just looking short term, these small waves of bounce can often lead to equity weakness. If the dollar is at support, I would expect the S&P to be at resistance. And if we see any upside in dollar today or just a stall, I would be looking for a little bit more bearish play in equity. So just kind of bringing together these concepts and trying to review if everything is in alignment for any sort of gap down to be sold versus to close or to possibly trade sideways, which of course would be unfortunate for today's trade. So I think that's good enough for now. We'll definitely dive a bit more into this tomorrow. I'm going to have some structure to tomorrow's discussion in regards to how to set up some of these trade ideas and why they work historically, but also categorically, from a technical and quantitative sense, why this trade tends to work. And then we'll talk through December and the closing out of the trade year. So I guess stay tuned for all of that. As always, trade safe today. Stay tuned for pre-market prep. And if you like the content, please give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and as always, comments are welcome. So we'll talk to you all tomorrow. And as always, stay tuned for pre-market prep.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to PreMarket Prep. I hope you're having an amazing morning. Hope you had an incredible weekend, incredible Thanksgiving, and all that good stuff. Um, good morning, Norm. How are you doing today?
Hey, good morning, brother. I'm doing well. How are you? How was your Thanksgiving?
Oh, it was amazing, man. Had an incredible Thanksgiving dinner with family and friends. Had a great weekend. We put up the tree usually right after Thanksgiving, so I don't know how you do it, but we did it this weekend, and just reminds me how much fun this is for the kids, man. It's incredible. They're older now, so they can enjoy it a little bit more.
Yeah,
So yeah, it was a whole lot of fun. I'm tired, but it was a lot of fun. So
yeah, I am too. It's good to
uh,
spend the time. It's
oh
also good to
yeah,
have them back in school and be able to get some things done.
it was a struggle for my son. My son struggles with change of routine, so having those couple of days off, getting him
Mm,
back, man, it was brutal. It was not fun. Uh, thank God my wife deals with the drop off, so I'm sure that's not going to be easy. I'll talk to her later. Guys, let's get into it. So, give big thumbs up over to Jared taking us through a lot of the stuff that's happening this week, coming off a short week, a rather choppy, nasty week. And you can see that here. I got Apple up on the screen. Just been looking at that one because that's one of our big ones for today. Very, very active. Enormous. You're probably going to get into a lot of stuff going on overseas that's affecting us here. Let's get to that in our market pulse, and we'll come back and see what we have on our gappers list.
yeah, I mean, the main thing is the protest and such in China, which with their zero COVID policy, people are still freaking out over it. Over there, uh, rightly so. 3 years of being locked down for something you can't contain is a bit much and a bit crazy. So they're protesting that. That's kicking off some stuff about censorship and all other kinds of things. But as far as economics go in the markets, you've got people like Apple that's going to have a massive production shortfall. This thing that the protest essentially started at their biggest manufacturing plant in the world in China, at the
Mm,
Foxconn facility that locked down and everything else that started this whole thing. So um, we'll see what happens. We've got all kinds of news coming out in the next uh, few days and weeks, but we've got employment for November that'll come out on um, Thursday. GDP revisions. We've got sprinkled in inflation data that we'll start seeing stream through Friday. Um, non-farm payrolls Friday, and then yeah. So I mean, just all kinds of stuff will be happening. Powell speaks at some point. I'm not quite sure. I don't see the date here, but I know he'll be speaking at some point. We've got a couple of Fed speakers today around noon. Powell speaks at 1:30 on Wednesday. So yeah, it'll be. We'll see how it goes.
yeah, absolutely. Will be interesting. See how that's going to affect things. Um, our gappers list this morning, guys. We got a couple of things in the red. Might just be following overall SPY stuff, and then we have some Chinese tickers that are in here as well. You got XBEF, you got Lee, and some other ones that are being affected. Won't surprise me if a little bit later you're going to start seeing some more creep up on this list. And then gap up, we got some names that we're familiar with, and some other ones that we know don't trade very well. We'll run through this and see what's happening and what we can pull off for today. So starting with our gap up list this morning, let's remove our stuff from yesterday. Control A,
Yesterday.
Control X. Oh, yeah, yeah. Let's get the brain started here. From Friday. Let's look at MIGs and well, mics, more mics than anything. MICS this morning, and it no, it's low flow ish type stock looks like at 1 million shares float. Horrible pre-market activity, guys, as far as what we like to see on these low flow stocks. Hard to borrow. Just a lot of flags and signals that this is not a great trader yet. Could become in play if they get some crazy volume, but I'm not seeing anything great right now. So we'll move on to the next one. AXSM, seen this on the list plenty of times, had made some pretty loud noise the beginning of the month of November. If you guys remember that, you had a lot of activity here. Not a lot of volume, but a lot of great movements there as far as the price action. As far as the daily, excuse me, pre-market right now, we're getting a pop norm here, 16.2. Is there
Yep.
anything worth watching on this
Yeah,
today?
well, I mean, this is a biotech. They had some. They announced some endpoint data on a phase 3 trial for an Alzheimer's drug. Um, so
All right, 3 trials does get a movement. Was 1 and 3, I think, do very well as far as moving the price. I don't like the pre-market activity here,
Yeah,
guys.
I'm
It's
not a huge fan, and we watch
yeah.
these. The spread's kind of nasty on this. It's 25 cents right now.
Hmm.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
probably wouldn't
I
touch
don't
this, but
I don't
you
like the
never know.
pre-market action. Yeah. And if you look at the daily levels here as far as volume, even on big days like this one here, this is a big day, guys. Going from 50 to 60. And again, I'm not gonna dive in and look at the price action. But I always like to look to see, okay, how much volume did we make that move with? And we did that with about 4.3 million, right? Which for me is so low. So I know you're gonna get gaps in the price action, the way it moves, and just the overall volatility is just going to be an issue for this stock, and we're seeing some of that pre-market right now. So um no, I'm not going to add it to my list, guys. Not to start this Monday. Just be very careful if you do choose to put that on your list. All right, PDD, some stuff happening here, guys. These guys are up nicely, 13.8. Norm, what's the latest and greatest?
As Brian L. eloquently put it, PDD murdered earnings. Yeah,
I saw that,
their
yeah.
earnings were quite strong. They're up
Yeah.
well in the pre-market, so we'll see if they can hold that.
Yeah, let's see if they can hold that. Let's see if they can trade well into the market open. I like them right now, 2.8, 14 million. I'm sorry, up 14%, 2.8 million shares traded. This is looking very nice. Definitely on the list. In play today. Again, that's a big drop, big pop here, guys, on PDD. Let's move it on down. We have Becky on deck, which again, every time I pull it up, I don't see anything great on it, and I'm not seeing anything great on it today. Can move. You have to wait for the market open to actually see what it wants to do. Right now, not a whole lot going on. It is sitting on the New York Stock Exchange. Overall, light volume. Again, I'm not a huge fan of this one, but if you do like this one, it is showing a nice gap up this morning of 6.3. Norm, is that being followed up by any news behind it? I know you don't trade this one much, so you might not have looked at it.
I don't trade this at all.
Yeah.
But that having been said, I don't see anything fresh as of this morning on it.
Okay. All right, so they got a nice gap up here so far. We'll keep it on here as possible. We'll come back to that one. Here is Shop, SHOP. They are up 6.4 this morning, 604,000, which is not bad pre-market action for them today. Daily seems to be on this slight uptrend. Any news on Shopify?
Yeah, they killed it for Black Friday, apparently.
Okay.
They had a sales record. It was like 3.3 million billion, excuse me.
Wow.
It was
Okay.
up big from last year. So I think
Nice.
that's been the trend. We've talked about it, how retail and how the market goes a lot of times will be determined by how retail looks over Black Friday, and then the coming weeks shows the strength of the consumer and everything else potentially. One thing that was noted that I'm sure people will be spoken about a lot in the news and other stuff in the next couple of weeks is, frankly, how brick and mortar in-person retail was pretty abysmal on Black Friday. A lot of people noted that like stores were empty where people would usually be waiting in lines, and a lot of that's anecdotal evidence. But I know I saw a worker in a major store talking about how every year they have to get there the night before or whatever and set things up and do stuff, and they usually have people lined up around the building, and it's
Yeah,
craziness. And
madness.
like this year, there was nobody there.
Yeah. I
So,
think those days are over, man. With online,
oh yeah,
I mean, I never did that. I never got the point of,
no, I've never
showing up
gone
at
to a store on
3
Black
8
Friday.
3 a.m. on Best Buy. I'm like, what?
Uh,
It just doesn't make any sense. I remember picking up somebody from the airport, and I had to pass by Best Buy because they were coming in for Thanksgiving, and I see all these cars. I'm like, these people are nuts. I mean, it's just madness. So those days are over. But yeah, but to each his own. I say they're mad, but some people just love it. It's a hobby for them. So who knows? All right, so let's shop, guys. In play today for sure. I like the pre-market action. Not the best trader, but I like it today. So we'll see if there's any day that they're going to do something. It will be today. Let's see.
We've got a couple of people chiming in here. Who was this? Cody. No one wants to get murdered for a flat screen. And
Oh man, it was
our buddy
crazy.
Rafzilla, less chance of being gunned down if you shop from home. This is
Yeah,
true.
it's crazy, man. The most I waited in a line was was to get a graphics card. It was like 15 people though in front of me, but I had to wait for Microsoft to get a graphics card after COVID, when shut down distribution. That's about it. Other than that, it's just not happening. All right, WYNN this morning we are up 5.1, 157,000. Casinos in play today. You have also Las Vegas Sands here, also up this morning. Norm.
Yeah, they do have some news. There's some China, China, I think renewed their licenses in Macau or something of that nature, so they're getting popped on this.
Okay, excellent. So definitely play out of these two. I'll put them both as a possible. I'll pick one. I mean, they're not usually my go-to, but today they're looking pretty good. They're up nicely, 3.8, 5.8, 5.1 so far. And then volume for these will probably come in at the market open. I know Las Vegas is a nicey ticker, but Wind Resource doesn't really get a whole lot of volume pre-market anyways. All right, let's look at what's gapping down today. We have a ZIM this morning, and these guys are up 1 point. They're up 1.6 or down? Oh, they're... Am I reading this correctly? Right, so we're above the previous day close, but we gap.
Something's funky here.
Something's funky. So my mind's going insane trying to calculate this. So something's funky. You see the same thing on your chart as well?
Yeah.
Yes, something's weird because we're above the previous day close. Yeah, something's funky the way this thing closed. It should have closed here. We should have been gapping down. That's why I said that first. We'll put this on a secondary. We'll come back to it. But if that doesn't look, I want to go back to see if we fix it. But you know what? You're right.
Want to see what it is. What's up?
Yeah,
with
I just want to see what
it's an interesting deal. I don't know what.
Never seen that.
I don't know what's up with that. That's not even worth putting on a list.
But I'm here just for technical issues.
I don't know why. My guess is they had some kind of special dividend or something payout, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
That could be it. I don't see that, so don't take my word for it.
Something's weird. I know.
Yeah, that's
so. What it is.
Yes, okay. They paid out a special dividend. It appears.
All right. So if that's the case,
dividend.
I'm taking this off. I don't want to deal with it. Take it off. Okay. Head down to DKNG.
Not really gapping down. That's kind of a.
Yeah. DKNG here, guys. We are down 5.2 this morning. I like the daily on DKNG. If we can break down, it looks like this level of support has held for a couple of days here on this range. The shorter range is this one here. You see a lot of touches in this run around 1481. Any news, Norm, on DKNG or anything going on?
Yeah, they got a downgrade out of JP Morgan.
Okay, it's a big
one.
They
moved to underweight from neutral and price target at 12.
Okay. I like that. I definitely like the activity in the daily as well on this one. We might see a drop here. Who knows? But I like it. I'm going to put it on our list for now. LI, this morning we are down 3.5. I like the possible breakdown here, opportunity that we can get. Let me see. As a possible for now. We come back to it. Not 100% convinced on it. Here's Coin. So Coin is down 3.2, 181,000 shares traded. They have not been trading great though. I mean, pre-market they've been pretty crappy. So you can't really tell a lot of the pre-market, but they haven't been a great trader. We'll come back to that. How about Mara? What do we got going on Mara? These guys are getting killed here. Again, down 3.2. Mara looks more interesting actually on the daily. They're making a new low here. I like Mara better, so I'll put that on the list for now. And I'll take off Coin. I don't like the way Coin looks right now. That's a good one if it hits the scanners. A few more here. CB today. This is Chubb Limited, and no, this is not looking good. Nothing happening. F you to you, man. We haven't seen this one in a while.
Even your emphasis today was insulting on that. It wasn't F you to you, it was F you to you.
Yeah. Oh man. This morning these guys are down 2.5. Again, nothing explosive. They sold off on Friday here a bit. Nothing great. I'll skip on it for now. Oxy is definitely one that I probably want to keep an eye on just to kind of see how things are going. Overall oil and all that good stuff. So Oxy, XOM is here as well. I prefer Oxy, as you guys know. It's not going to give you a whole lot pre-market. We know this for a fact. So we'll wait to see if anything gets going on Oxy here. Apple on deck, guys. So Apple is definitely in play today. I love the activity we're getting this morning. We're going to drop Apple there. 1 million so far, down 2.1. And Norm, you mentioned quite a bit of this already, right? All the China stuff happening, the lockdown started here. So that's going to definitely affect them here. So they're down a 2.1. Then Tesla, our good buddy Tesla, what are we up to this week as we get started here? So we are down 2%, 1.3 million. Tesla's just going to be in play for what it seems to be a long time here. So adding to the list for sure. Definitely want to watch. That is what I have. Norm, anything you like on your end?
No, we've got a good list today. I mean,
I think we
we've
do.
got a number of things
Yeah.
to choose from. So
A lot of stuff happening in different places. Guys, we are going to look quickly at what you guys have here, but it looks like we have an amazing list so far. Jeff, we'll start with you. Carlos, Microsoft. Daily is just under R4 in the past 2 months, down this month around S4. Let's see, Microsoft, what we got going on here. Hasn't been trading well, though, right? I mean, it's been stuck in this range here. I don't know. We'll have to wait for the market open, right, to see how this is going to react. I don't see the daily looks interesting, but obviously pre-market, you're not getting a whole lot. You usually do not get a whole lot of Microsoft unless there's any news that's directly affecting them, earnings or so forth, for upgrade downgrades. But not a whole lot happening. Just down 0.5%, if that. So Jeff, we just need more information on this. I like the daily. But unless the market is going to swing this thing one way or the other, I don't see you getting a big move out of it today. Amazon. All right, Amazon's pre-market activities are very active, guys. We're in the red down at 92. We're up at 93, and we're pushing higher here. Let's clean this chart up. I like the daily. Yeah, I like Amazon. And we will move some things out of our main list here. Like we can move Mara and probably Oxy or DKNG out of this. We'll see. But Amazon looks very good right now, very active, almost to 1 million shares traded here. And I like the daily getting up to this 94.50. Let's hope it does not get extended and we can take advantage of that. So thank you for Amazon. A few of you guys, Adrian, Bash Shoto, hopefully I'm saying that correctly. Carlton, all you guys over on YouTube mentioned this one, and also Tunde and a few others here in our chat. Microsoft news back on FTC investigation and ABT merger. Okay, ABTI merger. Okay, yeah. So we'll have to see how that plays out, how news comes out on that. What is happening with Shopify? They crushed, was it this one or which one was that crushed it on Black Friday? Yeah, so Shop crushed it on Black Friday. That's what's going on there, guys. Looking good this morning. Very active. Tesla, we have on deck. AMD, we'll do a few more. Then we'll head over to our community events and announcements. AMD, wow, this is probably the lowest volume I seen on AMD at this time. It's almost 850 here. In a while. So again, I don't think this is really in play right now. We need more volume out of this one. And also NVIDIA, very, very quiet, guys, at the moment. That's going to change at the market open, but there's no reason to keep it on our main list right now unless you're Peter and you want to have, of course, AMD programmed in there. China protest today. I think it started, today or yesterday. What time zone is China in? But over the weekend, that's the news that's coming out. Can't tell you exactly when it started, but that's affecting things. The China protests that started today.
It's been going on for a while. It didn't just start, but they're
what made it
worse.
big today though? It's
just grown.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, you're right. Because we've been hearing about this for a while.
There's some people, I believe, like 10 people died in a fire. And people are saying part of it's because of lockdowns. They were. Nobody would help them. Other things I've heard. So I mean, there's a bunch. It's just it's escalating.
Okay, so this is not becoming.
They were sealed in the building.
Yeah,
I can't even think of anything worse.
that is brutal, man. That's brutal. DWAC here. We are down 2.7. It's not in play, guys. It really isn't. Look at the volume here. This was fun. It's very risky. This was a little bit fun, and then now we just got no volume. So even though we're moving here, this stock is really not in play unless some big news comes out on it. So I wouldn't add this to my list. Very risky stock to trade when you don't have volume. So that's just my take on that one. And look at it now. The spread on this is 40 cents. It's just not in play. All right, let's stop here, guys. Let's go over to community events and announcements and see what's going on for the next 2 weeks.
All right. Anytime you want to see what we got going on, you can go to bearbulltraders.com/webinars or click webinars in the nav bar at the top of the screen on any page. Every Monday night, onboarding and technology with your man Carlos right there, 8 p.m. Eastern. Great webinars, especially if you're starting out with BBT. If you're new here, go over there. You kind of get a lay of the land and how everything works and goes on. Tuesdays we save for strategy. Tomorrow you're going to have Andrew giving an overview of his trading, everything from his setup to his how he finds stocks in play, what he trades, what he likes to trade, everything about it, his thought process. So, and then how he goes through the actual trade itself. Then Carlos is going to be talking about developing an educational plan. That's next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Wednesdays for psychology. This Wednesday, 8 p.m., we've got Randy Howell talking about staying disciplined when taking losses. The following week, Dr. Kenneth Reed is going to be talking about handling pressure while trading. Thursdays, we have mentorship at 11 a.m. with John and 8 p.m. with Thor. TradingTerminal.com is our site. We're building, improving, upgrading, refining each and every day. The hub for all of your trading information, from earnings calendars to research, charting, of course, scanners, priceless there. That we give scanners that people charge thousands a year to use or get access to. And then, of course, the simulator where you can go 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to hone your trading skills in our web-based replay simulator. Check it out at tradingterminal.com. If you're watching on YouTube, you haven't been in the room, you can do so with no obligation intro membership. That is 7 calendar days, 5 trading days in the room. Use the promo code PreMarket24. That is PreMarket24. No hyphens, no spaces, anything like that, to get a discount on that 7-day trial. It charges you one time. It does not recur. And then we also have the Black Friday deal still going on. Holiday 60. It's a promo code to get 60% off the Elite Annual membership and a one-on-one coaching session with Dr. Kenneth Reed. Don't forget, guys, you can, if you are currently an Elite member and an annual member and you expire a while down the line, you can still do this. If you want to do the Black Friday sale and lock in that pricing, it'll just add an additional 12 months to the end of your current term.
All right, excellent. Thank you, Norm, for that. Guys, let's get to our list this morning. So right now we have a pretty decent list. I like what we have so far to start off the week with PDD here. Again, some really big moves, up 13%, looking really nice this morning. We also have Shopify on here, which again, they crushed their earnings, so looking good as well. Great volume. DKNG dropping. I like the daily more on this one, and it's really more of a possible now that this list has grown a little bit more, and I do like Tesla and Amazon, which we didn't have before. I think DKNG we might end up moving that down. Let's go through this list here. Oh yeah, Mara is definitely getting moved down. I mean, compared to the other heavy hitters that we added here, I don't think Mara has a space on the top list here, so we'll move Mara down. Look at Oxy. This looks good today as well. Apple looking very good. Great volume this morning, down 2%. Some news behind it that's not great. But we're holding right at a level 2 right now. So this kind of is it right up here? It's a little bit higher than the pre-market low that they created, but right here with the actually it's a little bit lower. Yeah, actually, it's right there. So it's around this area right here, tons of resistance, tons of support. You see that there. So again, definitely like Apple right now on here. So that looks good. We have Tesla, which has been just explosive over the last couple of months, really. Ever since here, we had the huge drop, and then we have all the Twitter and stuff going on. I mean, it's just messy. The Elon selling his shares. There's been all kinds of stuff happening here. So looking good there. Very, very active, guys. And then we have Amazon, which is taking off here. So they are ripping towards that 94, 95. These guys were down quite a bit this morning, over at 92 and up a couple of bucks already. So at least almost $1 above their previous day close so far. So that's looking good. Well, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, miscount 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I got one too many. And I think it might be DKNG that we need to move down because everything else has volume, is in play, has a catalyst. I know DKNG has one too. They got a downgrade, but they're not doing all that great. You know what? No, I know exactly which one I'm going to move down. It's going to be Oxy. And the reason is because Oxy could be a hit or miss. We don't get a catalyst on DKNG often. I want to watch that one because I think that can do something today. We'll see. Volume is very light, but I want to put my chips on this one. We'll see what DKNG does. All right. That is looking good there, guys. Someone mentioned Neo. Is Neo in play today? It didn't come up on our list. Is it showing now? I know we had Lee and some other ones on there. I thought I saw, yeah, I saw XPEV. There it is. XPEV's coming up on our list now. That's a horrible pre-market activity, guys. In the last couple of days, Neo has been doing this. Look, let me get rid of these lines over here. Okay, there we go. If you look at the last couple of days, right, they have been not great compared to what we've seen in the past. Just look how wide these daily body of the candles are, right? They're very, very small compared to what we've been seeing in the past, right? When we're trading here, notice how much bigger these candles are, right? So we were getting good continuation, no wicks on it too, right? So do you see that? There's barely any wicks on these candles. What that means is market open, this thing picked a direction and it just ran. And we saw that a lot. And man, I was trading Neo every single day, looks like. I think you guys were getting tired of the Twitter posts on Neo, so I stopped doing them. I was getting bored. It's like it's the same thing over and over, flipped up or down. But now we have not been touching Neo for a while. I think Neo right now is kind of quiet. The daily for a later play when we do get volume or some kind of breakout looks very good, right? We got this nice support here for either, I don't know if we can break down lower, guys. We're getting to an area where, you know, it's a really inexpensive ticker right now. So who knows? This could be great support. You look at the buying pressure you saw here when we did dip below $9. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But I think right now, unless we're going to get a huge pop and some positive news out of China, I think this thing is going to be very quiet for a bit. So we'll see. That could change, but that's my take on it. So again, it's not really tradable. Even with this volume, 1.1 million, which seems like a lot, which it is for Neo, I just don't think we're going to get anything good out of that one. So put Neo on pause for now. Not on our favorite list at the moment. When they get back in play, we will definitely have them on deck. All right, what we got going on here? Let's see. So that is PDD. Yeah, I think we're looking good. That's our list right now. Let's do some levels for that. Anything that we missed over on YouTube? Let me see. Making sure. Menu was fun last week. Yeah, they were, and actually, I was surprised of the continuation these guys got. And who knows? Let's see what happens today. I won't be watching it. I think it gets messy up here. Hard to borrow, so you don't have shares for sure. And you had great volume, increasing volume. Pre-market looking okay as far as the volume they're getting. Let's see if they can match that volume. If they can, they got an opportunity to hit 23. But I was watching this last week, and this is just not my style of trading with the way this thing moves, right? But it was fun. If you were able to trade this last week, you definitely have fun with that. All right. So let's do some levels, guys. Let's start here with PDD this morning. We are going to do some high of the pre-market right up here. We're going to slam the level over at a 76.88. So that's looking pretty good there. And then towards the bottom here, we have 72.05. Good daily level there as well. We see a little bit of flirting going on this morning with that as well. I do like what the price action is now. And then you might think, hey, these levels are so close. Why is that? But that's almost $2, right? So it's a $2 difference between this level here and this one that I'm about to put here. So if you think that's close, I mean, $2 move on a $72 stock is pretty good. So level here at 74.60, I think it's worth noting because we have a lot of support that took place this morning. Drop below it now, trying to hold. Let's see if that's going to be possible for PDD. Towards the bottom, guys, you start running into your highs and lows of the last two trading days, so you are set there. I'm going to go over to the left here and see, do we have anything above 76? We should. I think we should, right? Yeah, we're high. Yeah, we definitely should. We're going back to 2021, November, December time frame. We're going to hop in here. Just get one or two levels above this pre-market high, so we're ready. Right, the big level here I can see right away is going to be this one around 84. That's a nice level there. And then towards the bottom, in this little island here, we do have what seems to be 80. 79.65 is where I'm going to mark that, but that might actually be 80 there. So we're worth marking that there as well. All right, so what else do we got here? So that is set there. Let's look at Shopify now. So Shopify, again, very explosive this morning, up 6.6. So that is looking good there. Pre-market high right now, 39.65. Above that, we do have a level over at 41.74. Again, this stock, not the best trader, but today they got some great news. So hopefully this can give us a good opportunity. If there's any day that you want to watch, this one is going to be today. I mean, you got some volume, you got a positive catalyst behind it. A good one actually. They blew out their sales on Black Friday. Looks like they're reporting, so that's always a positive news for these retailers. Towards the bottom, guys, highs and lows. You're covered there. You are set when it comes to Shopify. Let's take a look at DK&G. So DK&G here. Yeah, I like the daily. We've been stuck in this range. They got a downgrade from JP Morgan, as Norm mentioned. I'm going to put a pre-market low here at a 14.28. There we go, 14.28. Volume is okay. Could be better, but I don't mind that. You know, as long as we get volume in the market, at the market open, see how that's going to react right there. Another level at 13.59. And then down here, we got a couple 13 and obviously all the way down here 12.33. So plenty of stuff happening there. A little bit on the weaker side. We are down, guys, 5.4 on this thing. So let's see if the weakness is going to continue off this downgrade that they got. Apple, guys, very active, 1.2 million right now. And the daily looks great. I mean, you can see here they got this range up here that they were stuck in for a while. Again, just nothing really happening. Great, still a great trading range to trade because you're going from like 153 down to 148. So not great to swing trade, but here, you know, great to catch a couple of moves. And you did get great moves, as I mentioned. And when you see these wide body candles like this is nice, right? You want to see that. You don't want to see the stuff that's happening with NEO right now. Very small candles, not really giving you any direction or continuation, makes it a lot tougher to trade. So we're down here, guys, on Apple 2% with all the China stuff happening, obviously affecting them big time. I'm gonna leave this level here, this 145. Got a couple of touches there. I know our low of our pre-market is down here at 144.78. You know, we won't be greedy. We could mark that too. We could throw levels around here where we need them. So we'll put that there. And then down here, the big one, 142. Again, let's see how weak this thing is going to be with this catalyst that's going on right now. But 142, big level, a lot of touches, a lot of days opening and closing in that area. And then towards the top, guys, highs and lows for the last 2 trading days. Previous day close, you got all that stuff in here, so do not need to add anything else there. All right, our buddy Tesla, 1.4 million shares traded right now, tons of volume, tons of activity, lots of movement, guys. I mean, look how wide these daily candles are. A little bit of indecision there, but for the most part, we are moving on this thing. Low of the pre-market at the moment, 177.95. We'll slam level there, and then towards the bottom of that, below the highs and lows of the last 2 trading days, we have 166.29. So a lot going on there, guys. Levels as far as support, you have plenty. I don't think you need to add anything. Previous day close on here. Let's add the high of the pre-market over at 182.23. And that's it. I think you're done with this. This looks really good. Very, very active. Looking forward to see how the market open is going to treat this one. This thing has been all over the place, mainly towards the downside, right? I mean, they had a couple of green days in between here, but the pattern has been towards the downside. Can we test this 166 again? Are we going to break down from that? The pattern at the moment shows that we are clear downtrend at the moment, and we're gapping down today 2.4. China with their news is not helping these guys neither. So it's just a whole lot going on here. All right, Amazon at the moment, we're stuck within a range right now. We're going to add a level here, 92.14. And then we're going to add something down here as well over at 90.93. But for the most part, the upside looks a lot better. Hopefully, we can get a breakout of 94.50. We do have a level here over at 95.95. And all the way up here, we have another one at a 97.38. So let's see. Amazon's pre-market activity is really what's calling our attention here. And if we can break out of this range that we've been stuck in, right? Especially above 95. We have not been able to get above that since the 21st. Let's see if today we are able to push through that. We definitely got the volume this morning, so we got the attention. Can we actually get that going? All right, that is our list, guys. PDD, Shopify, DKNG, Apple, very active, Tesla, and Amazon right now. So not a bad list to start the week. Much better than a lot of the stuff we had last week. Especially towards the end, man, it was just brutal. I was talking to a few of you guys, and it was like you guys mentioned, it was like pulling teeth, right? Trying to get some good trades out of last week's action. So, um, let's see. Today already pre-market setting up much better. What do you guys are looking at besides what I have here? Anything that's calling your attention? I got some possibles here as well. Oxy, I think it's a good one, but I'm going with DKG. Let's see. But I'll keep a close eye on Oxy. Mara, Mara, I'm gonna even remove it from my secondary list. I mean, we're 906 now, still not doing anything great. This thing is not really in play, so let's get rid of that. LVS, this is good. This one is good as well. They're both gapping up 5.2, 3.4 for Las Vegas Sands, and let's see if that's gonna take any action. They definitely got some stuff going on this morning, as we discussed earlier. You're mentioning here a few of you guys TBLA. What is this? TBLA is a low float. What we got going on? Under $5. Oh, hold on a second. What we got going on here? So up 60%, more of a penny type stock, right? I mean, it's in play, guys. No question, this thing is in play. And I actually like the way that the setup is as far as getting going this morning, right? This is healthy, at least as healthy as you can get on a low flow. What's the flow for this thing? One? Actually, no, it's not a low flow. 170? 110 million? What is this stock? It's been a long time since I have not seen AMD on either list. Yeah, AMD's not on today. AMD will be on Peter's list, but it's not on today, man. This is the lowest volume I've seen at a 908 in a very long time. Nvidia is the same thing, so they are not on. But I mean, these tickers are so heavily traded. I mean, their average volume is always pretty high. And Nvidia at like 60, even when it's not in play, right? 60 million. So people trade it even if it's going sideways. AMD, same thing here, very, very high. Even higher, they're like at 90 for the most part on average. So they're gonna get the volume, but like I said, people trade this stuff even if it's going sideways, the volume is gonna push through it. I just don't see anything great right now as far as pre-market. Peter. So yeah, not on the list today. Peter's not gonna be happy about that. I'm gonna get an email saying, what's going on here. I'm probably gonna get written up for not putting AMD on the list this morning. So let's go back to TBLA. What is this? Deal with Yahoo. What's Yahoo? Is that a thing? What is that? Here it is, TBLA, guys. So we are up 60%, 11 million shares traded. It's not a low flow though, right? It's I don't know where to place this. I'm gonna put it still on a riskier type pile here because I just don't know how to trace something that's 110 million shares and it's moving like this. But it's definitely in play, definitely active, and it's got some news behind it. Like you said, stock pigeon. That could be a good one for today. But as you guys mentioned too, right? I don't normally trade stuff under $5. A lot of you guys don't trade stuff under $5. This is why it's difficult to pinpoint where you want to put this one at. But whatever you do, just make sure if you're taking a trade on this, you have some kind of trade book set up on this thing. That would be my take on it. Let's see here. So yeah, that's my take on that. Anything else, guys?
Taboola, huh?
Taboola.
That's the company that serves all the clickbaity, spammy looking ads.
Oh, that's what these guys do, huh? Okay. Yeah, that was the thing. Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised these guys are still they were able to survive Yahoo. There's so many opportunities that they missed. But they it is what it is. Yeah, all right, guys, we are set. I like the list this morning. We'll wait for our moderators to throw out a couple of things on here. We'll read those out to you. Remember, guys, tonight's the onboarding class over on YouTube. So if you want to join me, come on down. Pre-market 24 gets you access for 7 days for $24. You can't beat that. Come join us in chat, and you can see us trading live now. Right, you come into our chat and see Andrew and Brian trading live in a couple of minutes here for the market open. So thank you for the likes so far, 139. If you haven't done so already, if you could hit that like button, we appreciate it. It helps us out a ton. It really does help the channel. And we appreciate that very much, as we'll be live again tomorrow. If it's your first time here, subscribe, like. We'd love to have you back. All right, so far, guys, Thor, Jared, Peter, with their list. Let's read through some of that stuff on here. Amar over on YouTube. So this is a gold ticker. I don't usually watch
No.
this one. You can keep an eye on this one. I don't usually put it on my list, but it is up today.
It's not.
So
Yeah,
are there other ETFs for gold? What's some other
that's not
ones?
gold. That's natural gas.
Oh, so I keep thinking it's gold. Your natural gas. Is there any other ones that this is not the main one that what's one that Brian trades?
There's what UNG,
UNG's here.
coal.
Yeah.
There's Boyle.
Boy, yeah, there's so many, man. There's a list on this, and there's a link with a list of all of them. I think it came from Jared, so we'll see if we can get that for you guys. But there's a list that you have all the ETFs that apply to different sectors. So I don't. We usually so let me clarify. We usually do not put ETFs on our list, but we do trade them. You got things like the SQQs, TQQs, the SPY. We do trade them, but we normally don't put them on the list here. Just be careful, guys. Those things are leveraged 3 times at times. They can move, so they can move very aggressive. Be very careful with those. Yeah, NUGT is the one that Brian loves.
Nugget and Dust. Yeah.
Yep. He loves those, and Dust as well. All right, guys, we're set. Let's get our moderators. Let's see Megan coming in as well. Let's bring this over here. Let's resize this. Here we go. Let's stop the video so we don't get the mirror effect. And all right, here it is. Not actually, as I'm doing this, not actually going to the mall, thinking about the mall and the holidays. Actually, allow me.
Mall?
Yeah, actually, not because remember back in the days, everything was in the mall. There was no internet. You went to the mall to get gifts and everything. With online now, I actually enjoy Christmas music a lot more at the house. It was I put it on while we were making the tree, and it was not overwhelming. It was like welcoming, because when you went shopping, it's like if you were there for an hour or two, forget about it. It's like you got saturated with the damn music, right?
I start with it on like Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, it's exactly. He's like, come on, guys, it's too early. And it's just by the time you get to your Christmas celebration, you don't want to hear this stuff. It's like, what is this?
No.
Can't say that word, but you guys get it.
In somewhat related news, unfortunately, my son learned how to turn on Christmas music on Alexa. So,
oh, you're screwed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But yeah, I really did enjoy it. I was like, oh, this is nice. Guys, our list for today, we have Thor, SPY, Qs, Apple, BA, and Tesla. Jared is looking at Amazon Shop and Apple energy stocks bearish year-to-date lows on CL. Peter, Jewel L is just a joke at this point as far as opening. Peter is looking at AMD, Apple, Amazon, PDD, Shop, and Tesla. Megan looking at Shopify, Apple, and Amazon. All three of these guys in play with some really good pre-market activity. Brian, Tesla, Amazon, Baba, and DKNG. And Peter is looking at Peter has amended his list, pulled the audible here, AMD, and some more AMD.
Seriously?
And this is because I don't have AMD on my list, but it's not in play, guys. Peter is not in play. All right, guys, we are all set.
Peter deserves a no for that.
Yeah, no, Peter. We don't care if we get written up. No. Guys, that's what we have. Have a great day getting back to the markets. And again, this list looking very nice compared to what we had last week. So looking forward to some great action here after the market open. Take care, trade safe. And I see the chat is sending some stuff there. Pretty good. Just a quick recap. PDD, Shopify, DKG, Apple, Tesla, and Amazon on our list. I think it's going to be a great day. So trade safe, guys, over on YouTube. See you guys tonight. If you haven't joined me, see me and Mike tonight at Mike and I tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern time in our chat room for the onboarding class, and we'll show you everything that we have to offer, right? And you can see what the environment and community is all about. So take care, guys. Trade safe. Hit that thumbs up, subscribe, and we'll see you tomorrow again, 8 a.m. Engineering the markets. Jairus gets it going then Norm and I again at 8:30. And we'll see how this day traded.
Yeah, take care, guys. Trade safe.